Chris and the Sleeve Adventures. Today is Friday, the 11th of October. I am, as of, I am going to be starting my liver reducing diet on Monday, so that's then the official 3 week countdown to the actual surgery date, which is on the 5th of November. This week this week I've been doing a bit of what I call a bit of a free week, where I've been trying to eat good for breakfast and lunch, and then I'm having like sort of whatever meal I really want for dinner. So things I'm going to miss, and like Sunday I'm going for a Toby carvery to like just it's one of my favourite sort of meals, a carvery, and like obviously not going to be able to have just realistically ever the size of one that I have again, which is obviously a good thing, but little things like that. And then but yeah, so I thought what I'd do this week is do a countdown of a few items. I think there's 6. I've got them down to categories of things that I'm worried about coming to the surgery. And like, I thought what I'd do with this is if I say them all now, and then if I try and do an update in 6 months' time, I can go through this list again and I can see if they were founded or not, how I found each one of those things, and just something to look back at and see if there's been anything different. I've sort of made the list. I've got 6 parts, and I've sort of got them in a bit of things I'm least worried about to obviously my biggest fear. So don't take that with a pinch of salt, but generally that's what my list is. So starting off with number 6, we have got energy levels with work after having the sleeve. So for me, I'm like got quite a physical job. I'm just knowing obviously how little calories I'll be having after the surgery, like being able to work fully and coping on that amount of energy is just it's something. Yeah, that's I'm wondering if I'll be okay. I don't want to lose the job over not being able to do it properly anymore. I mean that's probably a bit of an extreme case, but obviously it's going to take some getting used to. Like obviously the amount of calories I am on now to compared to what I will be on in the future. Obviously recovery is also a factor in that, but obviously I have to see when I go back to work. Try to take it slowly, not rush going back too soon. But at the same time, I get bored being off too long, so I don't want to be off stupid amounts of time. But then just wondering how I'm going to find it afterwards in that sort of regards. If I'm like best ways I can work around it. Obviously, I think one of the main things afterwards is like you're meant to have eat a lot of different times, just having small bits, but every so often. And I always find that quite hard at work. Like I generally don't normally eat when I'm at work. I just keep busy, so trying to factor in some times to have some like little breaks, just have a little snack here and there. Is something that's going to take a bit of thought and a bit of planning, which it might not do for other people. So yeah, it's just something I'm gonna have to figure out, and hopefully it'll be all right though. But yeah, that's my number 6. Number 5 is I call it struggling to eat, but I guess my category is of not being able to have the things I enjoy anymore. But in like I'm quite a fussy person with my food, so I know a lot of people can say like afterwards, like I'm quite a sweet person as well, and it's a quite common side effect is that you'll go from being a sweet person to a savoury person and stuff like that, and just obviously I over rely on food too much now. I use it for emotions and other things like that if I'm feeling bad, but having that taken away from me, I hope isn't going to be too bad, and I hope I can just it helps me find new ways of eating, new items to eat. Obviously, I can't eat I won't be able to eat my feelings anymore. So, which is obviously not something I want to be doing. So it's a good thing in that respect. But if I don't have that release, it's wondering how finding a new way to have that release. It's obviously a bit of a nasty subject, but there are studies out there saying that like suicide rates and that are a lot higher for people who've had the gastric sleeve purely just because if you eat as a way of a release of stress and that obviously if you can't do that it makes it a lot harder to deal with that. So it's a bit complicated, but yeah, I'm just wondering what life's gonna be like if eating wise and stuff like that, going out for meals and having to order kids meals and stuff like that, and worried about getting judged and stuff like that, or places won't allow it. Just like oh, why is he only having that and stuff like that. I guess a lot of coming to that is like people's perception of me. Like I've been kind of reluctant to tell a lot of people. I mean, you could say well, you're doing YouTube videos. Like, it's a bit different when it's not people directly in my life, like yourselves, unless you are someone that is. But I mean, I've always found it easier to sort of on a plane just talk to strangers and stuff like that, and like I can find it harder to share with people that are closer in my life, which might sound weird, but it's just, I don't know, it's just the way it is. I guess there's that disconnect with other people that I don't know very well. But yeah, that's my main issues I've worried about for number five, but we'll see how that goes. Number four is probably one quite a lot of people have, and I guess it's a good thing, but not at the same time. It's a case of if I lose a lot of weight and obviously lose it quickly, lose skin. Like, obviously being quite a big person to start with, I imagine if I do lose it all or a good proportion of it, it is going to be a factor in the future. I know there's obviously choices of going through like the cosmetic surgery sort of things, or is it something I'm just going to be able to live with? I mean, I think it's one of the less talked about things. Like people hide it. Like I know someone who's had an operation to have it removed, and that was an option for them. But like, obviously, I know it's something you'd have to pay for privately. But if it makes you feel better, I guess. But then the idea of having to have some sort of surgery again or something like that is quite a daunting idea. But I just yeah, it's I guess that's a long way down the road, but it could definitely be an issue in the future. I am not quite sure how I feel about it and how I want to do it. I mean, generally, it's probably not as bad for men as it is for women, like with that sort of issue. But yeah, I've never been someone who likes tight fitted clothes, and maybe that's because of my size. But I'm wondering if I do lose a lot of weight and become a lot slimmer and will wear like more fitting clothes and that, if it's going to be a factor in making it look a mess or stuff like that. I guess it's quite an unknown for me, so hence why it's on this list of worries I've got, but I don't know if they're founded or not. But yeah, that's something I'm looking at to worry. Just wondering how, say, like 6 months when I do the follow up video for this, just see if it is a factor yet, see how I'm feeling about it, anything like that. It'd be quite an interesting one. I mean, as much as I don't want loose skin, I guess I'd rather have that than not have lost or something as well. So I guess it's a positive thing to have, but we'll have to see. Number three on my list is complications. So I guess this is straight after surgery, or I guess it could be weeks, months afterwards. Yeah, obviously I've never had surgery or anything before, so this is my first experience with that. And obviously, with any sort of surgery, there are risks, there are issues that can happen, like I don't know, internal bleeding or something coming loose, and then yeah, I imagine it could be quite nasty. Obviously, there's going to be a few cuts in you if they start opening up or something, because they haven't sealed properly or things like that. I just guess yeah, the idea of like having the surgery and then something going wrong and not being well afterwards, or it's hopefully it doesn't happen, but it's possible I could have something that a life altering condition or something. It's not in the realms of impossibility. Same with the anesthesia. I've never had that before. I don't know if somebody could have a bad reaction to it or something, or could it go well? I mean, yeah, it's probably quite a common fear for a lot of people, especially surgeries and stuff. But yeah, I do wonder. I do worry if something happens, how I deal with it, how it would go. Like I don't really find I have a good pain tolerance or something like that. So the idea that I could, I guess this is an elected surgery in one way. I need it to help me and save my life, but I don't have to. I mean, I could have just lost it by myself, and even though I've tried for so many years and every piece of help I can, and this feels like a last resort for me. But I guess as opposed to like having some sort of surgery, like you know pacemaker or something like that, something you have to or else you're going to die. This is a bit different, but it feels different to me. But yeah, I'm choosing to have this, and it could be possibly the worst mistake I've ever made. Fingers crossed it isn't, but obviously it's a fear I have, founded or not. But yeah, so complications is my number three. But yeah, getting to my end of the list now. So this is number two of my most biggest fears, and this one is having the surgery and not losing weight. It not working for me for whatever reason, like not stopping me eating as much. I find ways, unfortunately, to get around the restrictions it put on me, and ended up years time I'm in the same position I am as I'm making this video right now. I mean, yeah, I want so desperately for this work. It's hard to put into words. I feel like I want my life back that I've taken from myself in short terms, and I just want to be able to live like a normal person. I don't want everything I do in my life to just revolve around thinking, oh, am I going to be able to do that? Am I going to fit? Or I've got something I can wear or something like that. It's just, my life is controlled by my weight, and it's really depressing and really sad. So that, as I said, like to have the surgery is sort of all my worst fears in one. Like, I hate hospitals. I'm scared of them and all that sort of stuff. And the idea of having surgery and putting myself into pain and restricting what I can eat, it's all horrible. But I know I need it, and I just hope with every fibre of my being that it works and I have the success that most other people have. I know the statistics are good for it, but obviously this statistics show that it doesn't work for everyone. So I'm really hoping I'm not one of those people that it fails for. I want to have it. I want it to go well, and I just want to do the best I can afterwards. And I want it to work. I want to get my life back. I mean, yeah. So I guess that's probably one of the biggest ones of everyone. But yeah, not losing weight is probably most people's biggest fear out of having the surgery, like having it not working, apart from number one. But yeah, so that's my number two. And number one, biggest fear on this list, probably the same as most people, is that surgery goes completely wrong or something and I don't make it. I mean, I know the odds are that's very, very, very low, but with any surgery or anything like that, yeah, death is an option, and a seizure or something like that, I could never wake up again. Like, I guess for me, my point of view, if I die, I'm not going to know anything. It's not going to bother me. But like the idea of leaving my wife and daughter just without anything in the world for something that I didn't have to have in one way. I know I keep saying that, but yeah, it's just I've always felt I'm a bit of a failure for having to have the surgery. And that's not me judging anyone else. That's just by my own standards. I've always felt like it's something I should just be able to do. And I've been like 20 plus years trying to do it, trying to lose weight and succeeding for a bit and then going back because life gets in the way. And it is really sad that I'm at this point, but I'm really hopeful at the same time. But yeah, obviously that's most people's worst fears, I guess, of anything. There isn't really any worse outcomes than that, is there, from it? So yeah, my number one biggest fear is I don't die. So if I make a follow-up video, that was definitely already not come true, luckily. So fingers crossed I get to make a part two to this video. But yeah, well, thank you very much for listening. And as I said, I know I'm not very good at these videos and talking and stuff, but I'm just trying to give my honest opinions out there, let people know what's going on, and I'm just going to try and track it the best I can. As I said, even if it's just for myself, just so I can see, like, oh my god, that's what I used to look like, or that's what I used to be. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a healthy relief for me. It's a bit like a therapy, being able to just talk it out. And yeah, and I quite enjoy trying to edit the videos, try and make them a bit better with each one I do, learning how to do it and stuff. But yeah, so after that, so my next part I'm planning to do will be a week. It'll be like Friday next week around that, and try to do videos on each Friday, roughly about that. And that one's going to be seeing how I'm doing with my first week of being on the liver reducing diet, how that's going, how I'm feeling to it. As I said, and yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.